Word arrived via courier that my father has passed. We were just preparing for an offensive against the Navarrans and their allies from Aquitaine, yet now my mind turns to other matters. I will return with my brother to Sardinia to prepare for my coronation. The lords and ladies of the realm must understand that the times of lax authority under my father's rule have come to an end. Now I am king, and I shall do what I must to ensure my kingdom remains strong. Hello Wanderers, welcome back to our Crusader Kings 3 roleplay series following House Drengot. And as you will doubtlessly remember from the last episode, King Tancred the Eloquent died of drinking at the ripe old age of 63, having outlived his wife, Queen Mother Sybil, and leaving his 5 children and many grandchildren. Now, as per the vote that we held in between episodes here, we will be playing as King Tancred II, though it was actually a close call between Prince Gilbert and King Tancred. I think both playthroughs would be pretty interesting, but we will be going with King Tancred, and in the future we will probably continue to allow the options of who is going to be ruling if we have multiple children. So just something to keep in mind, and we'll try to pay a little bit more attention, especially as the characters get older and near the end of their lives, to see what kind of stories their children are developing, so that everybody can make an informed choice about which story they think is going to be the most interesting. For example, with King Tancred here, we will have at least 2 sons. We have Prince Corneliu and Prince Adamar. So we'll be paying attention to their stories and seeing how they turn out. But as always, when we have a new ruler, we kind of got to take stock, look at things, remind ourselves who the characters, who the important players in the realm are, and what kind of things they would be looking to do. So obviously we're going to start with King Tancred II himself. Now, you will possibly recall in previous episodes that King Tancred was something of a coward in his youth and was maybe mocked for it, both in-game and outside of game. But since then, he has, for the most part, overcome his craven nature and become something of a strategic genius. Not only that, but he has learned to wield the blade with utmost skill and is in fact a legendary blade master. So although he does have that bit of that craven nature, I think he manages to overcome it, knowing that it is one of his faults. He pushes past the cowardice that he feels and somehow manages to overcome it, though it is still something I think that he struggles with. He is also a callous man, so he is the type of leader and ruler who does not hesitate to send his troops in to die, essentially, if it means the greater good. He will do what needs to be done. He sees people more as tools and pawns, especially in battle, than as people. But he's also forgiving. So when it comes to matters of like personal matters and slights made upon himself, he doesn't necessarily, he kind of, I think, ignores those kind of things. Like, he doesn't take things personally, unlike a vengeful character might. So whereas some people might take offense at every little slight, King Tancred, that kind of stuff is beneath him, I think. He doesn't even pay attention to that. So he is a forgiving character as well. He also does enjoy drinking. Now, I think it's a little bit different than with his father, who was all about like partying and, you know, being the life of the party. I think Tancred drinks in order to kind of overcome his cowardly nature and perhaps to kind of solidify his heart when it comes to the things that he needs to do, the things that he's seen in the battles when he was fighting in the Holy Land and etc. That leads us into the fact that he is a Crusader. He did participate in the First Crusade alongside his brother and successfully helped win that crusade. Now, obviously, our family was not put on the seat of Jerusalem. That was, in fact, King Uhtred, who is something of a, well, interesting character. He's a strong leader, but he's not necessarily somebody the church would probably like too well. So if we get the chance to work against Jerusalem, to bring it in our grasp, we may try to do so, but I don't think that's where King Tancred's focus is. As always, he's been more focused on Iberia, and that was something that's been in play since many episodes ago. So that's kind of where his focus will be for the most part. Now, we are married to Queen Emmeline of Sardinia. She is of the House de Hauteville. Obviously, they were the rulers of the majority of Sicily, though they have been since relegated to but a footnote in Italy. So we may be looking into that, as the Byzantines are quite powerful, as you can see, and certainly they are a dangerous threat to Siculo-Norman hegemony over southern Italy. So I think they've got a lot of troops, but we might be able to do something against them if the situation works out in our favor. But yes, we do quite like our wife. We are not in love necessarily. Well, I mean, we probably do love her, but we're not like soulmates or like it's not an extremely romantic relationship. It's just we have affection for each other. You know, it was an arranged marriage, but they've come to care for one another. She's arbitrary, compassionate, gregarious. She is the person who can make friends where King Tancred cannot. He is all hard edges, and she is the softness that can kind of mellow King Tancred out. Perhaps the only one who can in many ways. And then we have their children. Their eldest daughter, Princess Sibylla, who is gluttonous, ambitious, callous. A lot of their kids have been kind of raised to be very selfish narcissists, or uncaring, I should say. We also have Prince Corneliu, the heir to the Kingdom of Sardinia. He is patient, also callous, and charming. We are raising him ourselves, but in a diplomatic focus. Then we have Prince Adamar. He is a charming young lad. So he doesn't have many traits, just charming. He's a nice kid. And then Princess Sibylla. Let's I don't know why they have the same name. Hold on. Here we go. Let's change that up to Princess Sofia. There we go. I don't know why we named both of our daughters Sibylla. A bit odd, but now we have Princess Sofia. Let's just pretend it was always that. She is a little bit bossy, but hey, that's kids, right? Then we have our extended family, Princess Adelaide, our sister, Princess Muriella, Queen Sybil of Castile. That's a little bit more of an important one. Castile is an important part of our plans. And obviously you all remember Prince Gilbert, who is something of a Stannis Baratheon type character. He's callous as well, just, so he definitely believes in honor and doing the right thing no matter what the cost. And he is also arrogant, so he kind of takes after our father in that way, that he greatly believes in the superiority of the Drengot dynasty. And he is married to Duchess Constance of Utrecht-Jourdain. So that is here in Jerusalem. So that may give us a little bit of a connection here to the Holy Land. There we go. That is all of that. Now we do need to choose a lifestyle. We're definitely going down the Marshall tree, and we will go with the strategy focus because we are a strategist. Apparently we've gone down the Gallant tree. We can unlock the trait Gallant. You know what? Perhaps he is a Gallant person. He is a legendary blade master, a crusader. Yeah, I could see it. So there we go. Let's get the Gallant trait. Then we'll go down the strategist route after that. So we're definitely going to be one of the best swordsmen in the world, I think, at this point. So that is that. The last things to do for our family-wise is to arrange for some marriages for our children. So to make this quick, I've already picked out some people, but I'm going to get that all set up and then we'll cut back when I've got them all lined up here. All right, so the first marriage that we are going to line up is for our daughter, Princess Sibylla, to King Fernando of Galicia. Obviously, Galicia being one of the Iberian nations, we are getting involved in there. They're not extremely powerful, but they are a little bit more isolated, kind of somewhat more protected from the rest, and could be a useful ally. Now, he's not a good man. He's craven, arbitrary, deceitful, and delicate, but I mean, these aren't all things that we would know extremely well. All we know is that he does make for a potentially good alliance. So we are going to arrange that marriage. And then for our son, I will do the same thing. So for our eldest son, we are actually going to arrange his marriage to Princess Milicent of Sicily. Now, although that is a little bit of a weaker alliance compared to the others, this is mostly to facilitate the potential, essentially, excursion against the Byzantines here, and potentially when she inherits her father's titles, he does have claims on all of these lands, most of which will pass down to his children. That should allow us to kind of come in here and take these lands potentially for ourselves. So that makes sense for our eldest son here. So that is that marriage. For our youngest son, he's just 5 years old, but let us set that one up as well. So for Prince Adamar, we are going to be arranging a betrothal between him and the daughter of Duke Armando of Verona. Now, this is an interesting one because Duke Armando is actually the heir to the Duchy of Tuscany, Emilia, and Spoleto. So if Duchess Giulia dies, which she is maimed if she doesn't have any children, then he will inherit those titles and therefore his children will get claims. So Giancita di Canossa is going to be an alliance there. We may facilitate things with Duchess Giulia here. You know, perhaps we may indeed facilitate that. But last but not least, we do have our young daughter. She is only 3 years old, but it's not too early to arrange a betrothal there. So I do have one last option for that, and then we'll pop back in a moment. And so what we have here is an arrangement of a very early betrothal, but this will be between our daughter, Princess Sofia, and young Adalbert Capet. He is the son of Prince Hugh of Burgundy, and Prince Hugh is the heir to the Kingdom of Burgundy. So when he takes over from his father, that will be a very, very strong alliance there. And then in the meantime, I did just arrange to get a alliance with Duke Marco here. He's married to our sister, so we just want to arrange the alliance to make sure he doesn't act against us. So everything with our family is taken care of. Let's take care of our court. And I know, we got to do all this kind of early on stuff when we take over for a new ruler, because there's a lot of stuff to go through. So we got to fill out these 4 council positions. So number 1, we're obviously going to reinstate Duchess Rosalind as the Chancellor. She is a powerful woman, very skilled at her job, overcoming perhaps mocking stares and whispered things behind her back because of her nature as a hunchback. But let's just say that she has not let that stop her. She is confident, she is proud, and she is good at her job. So Duchess Rosalind will definitely be reinstated there. Now, options for steward and a marshal, a little bit different there. But what we will be doing is putting Duke Fulk of Barcelona as our steward here. He's reasonable at it. He is more of a warrior type character, but he does understand coin and that kind of thing to enough of an extent. As you can see, his stewardship's pretty decent. He understands it well enough to manage it. I think in the way I see it is that we are both warriors, and he understands how coin can be spent to facilitate the army, and that's exactly what we need him to do. So Duke Fulk, you will be in that position there. As for our marshal, we could put Grand Mayor Ferrand of Genoa in that position, but we are actually going to put our brother, Prince Gilbert. Prince Gilbert is not a martial character himself, but he has fought many battles. He fought alongside us in the Crusade. He has led armies. He lost his eye in battle. Even though he doesn't focus on war like we do, he understands he understands all of these kind of things to enough extent that we can trust him to appoint him as our marshal. And then for our spymaster, that is where we will be putting Grand Mayor Ferrand. He is extremely good at that. Duke Marco would also be a pretty good choice, but Duke Marco's pretty old, and Mayor Ferrand is a younger man and somebody I think that we can trust in that position. So there we go. That is our council. And we will be taking heed of them, but I think that King Tancred II is more of a personality and hands-on kind of ruler than his father was. So we will consider our council's words. Oh, and of course we've got Gaetano, the insane priest, who we try just our best to ignore. Honestly, I'd get rid of him if we could, which we probably could if we needed to. You know what? And I think one of our first acts, while we're kind of just arranging everything here, I think we will start this murder scheme against Duchess Julia here, just to kind of get the ball rolling on there. Now, obviously, we would like to hold court, but we cannot because we are leading the army. This is in the war against the tyranny of King Sancho. We're fighting against the Navarrese and their Aquitanian allies. But obviously, I was going to say we would probably return home. Yeah, you know what? Our father died, and we are being named king. I don't think we can just ignore that situation. So we're going to put somebody else in charge of the army. We will put on Ontario di Brescia, one of our skilled knights. He's a trusted man, ambitious, gregarious, brave. You can do this, Ontario. And our brother was with the army, but we will return home with our brother to see to our father's funeral. So obviously, I should mention our brother did inherit the Duchy of Capua. So we're going to send our armies in here, and yeah, we'll let time run a little bit. We'll let all these events tick on through there. Alliances forming. All very well. Perfect. Alright, so that takes care of all of that. Nothing else to do here. We do have an event. Foremost Knights. Wow, we haven't even held court yet. A healthy rivalry between meddlesome fighters is to be expected, but the growing discord between Nicola, just some random knight in our court. He's not very good. And another random knight in our court who is also not very good. Who's supposed to be more skilled? You guys both suck. Yeah, they're just fighting over who's better. Will we humble both of them? No, I think, you know what? Let them fight it out. Let them fight it out. I'm sure it's a farce. And Nicola was killed by Walter. Yeah. That doesn't really concern me. You know, let them... If they wanted to prove who was the better fighter, I guess they did. You can see over here, here's the statue of Queen Fredesende here. And our court is looking a little bit nicer after King Tancred the Eloquence rule. So, let's hold courts. And as you can see, our brother is our closest advisor here. And I think that makes sense. We don't necessarily get along super well, but we've spent so much time together, fighting together, serving in the army together, that, you know, we understand each other pretty well. We've come to like a level of agreement between the two brothers. It's not a rivalry at all. Sitting on the throne, we gesture for the petitioners to approach. Who shall be first? Prince Gilbert. Prince Gilbert stands before you, his face grave with concern. My lord, the threat of the Byzantine emperor weighs heavy on my mind. Very much like Gilbert to be considering these types of things, considering his lands in Capua border them as well. Basileus Sebastianos looms across the border, he says, only days from the gates of Salerno and House Drengo's hearths. You must help fortify my lands. Capuan soldiers and fortifications are all that stand between Sardinia and Rune. Yes, I do believe that is true. So we shall... I think we shall guarantee Prince Gilbert's fortification rights. So there we go. We gained a hook on him. So that's well and good. Amid all the supplicants, Biagio, who I thought was a prisoner under house arrest. Oh, was he? Who is this guy? Some rando. My lord, surely the food served to me in my prison rooms is of far worse standard than what you would serve a respected guest. House arrest means dignity. Let them roam the grounds. Walter, you are unworthy to be called a knight. Yeah, you should be lucky that we're allowing you freedom to move around. Dismissed. And who is this? Lamont bint Abu Bakir al-Mavorid. Okay, let's see what this person's here all about. O munificent King Tancred, I am Lamon, and I have traveled far to ask for your aid in righting a great injustice. The woman in front of me bows deeply before continuing with her well-rehearsed plea. Emir Abad al-Rahman of Tahirid currently sits on the throne of Tahirid. What is the Emirate of Murcia? Oh, that is in Iberia. But I am the rightful and true ruler of those lands. If we aid her in pressing her claim, we don't need to press your claim. We are going to invade those lands on our own. We don't need claimants. Our claim is the claim of God upon these lands. So please, you know what? You You may stay so that we may garner information from you. We will not be pressing your claims. We will be pressing our claims. Our business here is done. Let's, we have funeral and things like that to see to, so we won't be returning to the army. We will leave this in charge of our knights here, Ontario. One thing that you may notice is that our monthly income is not doing super good. King Tancred spent a lot of money before he died, and he did not leave us with a huge treasury, and he overburdened the realm. Now, obviously, when King Tancred the Eloquent was ruling, it wasn't really coming out because he was making enough deals and facilitating trade enough that it was mitigating this. But I think we're seeing now that the policies of King Tancred can't be sustained, so we're going to need to address that. In fact, we're going to address that right now by going into our courts, and we're going to lower our court grandeur just a little bit, I think. I think we'll probably try to keep it. No, we'll go down maybe to 8 there. That should save us a little bit of money. I don't think King Tancred is the type who cares so much to keep all of that as it is. As you can see, he's more concerned about the army. He'd rather spend his money there. So we'll save a little bit of money on that, and yeah, we're gonna be not spending as much as we were when we were playing as Tancred there. All right, looks like we're gonna get engaged in a battle here. Let's see how well Ontario can do. He's fighting pretty well. Unfortunately, the Castilians, come on Castilians, come join us. This is honestly getting a little bit closer than I might have liked. There we go, Castilians came just in time to win this major battle. So there we go. Duke Fulk wounded a man. Perfect. And Sibylla comes of age. She is now a fortune builder, and she is ready for her a marriage. So that shall be arranged. He is very grateful to have our daughter as his wife, as he should be. All right, so we're going to send our troops in to siege down the enemy. And, oh, what happened here? And the king of Sicily died. So as you can see now, his daughter does have a lot of claims here. Claim to the entire kingdom of Sicily, to the Duchy of Sicily. She doesn't have claims to all the duchies, just the island here. But once she comes to our courts, we probably will be pressing some of these, I think. We could form an alliance here with King Gervas, but do we really want... I'm gonna consider that. Not sure if we want to ally with them or not. Perhaps we have some counselors in the comments who can let us know what they think about this whole Sicilian situation. So we don't have to arrange that just yet. So yeah, we're gonna do some sieging down. Like always, I'm gonna. Oh yeah, here. Oh, unfortunately, we can't see the events of that battle. Somehow it disappeared. But yes, we will siege this down, and if any events come up in the meantime, I will let you guys know, and otherwise we will pop back in once the siege is done. A Duchess to scare, a local mystic with dubious morals and a fabricated omen. Perfect. Before the mystic leaves for Duchess Julia's court, there's but one question. Will my false omen be one of fortune or of doom? We could give her a bad omen, or we could give her a good omen to lull her into a false sense of security. Yeah, perhaps a false sense of security would be good. And our brother arrives in Cagliari to pay homage. He has pledged his submission. Indeed, that is what we expected. As you can see, we do get along with our brother very well. Show him in. He takes the knee, kneels in deference, offering nothing but his oath to faithfully serve as vassal of the kingdom. Yes, very well. Service well, brother. He is a just man. He understands his position as the second brother. Alright, so it looks like the siege is going to wind down pretty quickly here. That it did. Let's see if we can perhaps catch the enemy army as... Ooh, there's quite a few of them actually. Can we meet up with the Castilians? Yeah, here we go. Maybe if we... What do we have here? I was watching Corneliu play with other children when Gerald tried to push him over. Who is Gerald? This is Eugenia's son, and as you all remember, Eugenia was one of our father's lovers. But Vinci Guara, he is our half-brother. As is the mayor of Samasi here. Yes, our half-brother, Mayor Tariq, though we do not know that. Charles tried to push him over. He took it in stride and sat down to talk to him instead. He knows to turn the other cheek. He must never let others walk over him. No, I think, you know what, we're forgiving. We know how to turn the cheek. Well, we'll let our son know how to turn the cheek as well. Alright, so looks like we might be able to catch the enemy army here. We might be able to win this one. Looks like we have the advantage. Duchess Giulia is inspecting a ship anchored at one of the harbors of Teramo later this week. It would be easy to have my agents drench the rowboat meant to ferry out inflammable liquid. Oh my gosh, that was horrifying. Wait until it's just out of harbor, launch a flaming arrow, and then just let the water climber. Oh man. You are... Well, he is callous. He is callous. Alright, let's do it. Duchess Julia is dead, claimed by the cold embrace of the ocean. The flaming arrow shot by my agents blazed a burning path across the harbor, and only moments later the whole boat was up in flames. All passengers ended up in the water, and the fine fabric gets so heavy when wet. Unfortunately, the archer could not be found. So that means that Verona is now ruling there, and as you can see, we do have the alliance with Verona due to the arranged marriage between Giacinta and Prince Adamar. So, well, perhaps all of Italy is within Sardinian grasp in 1 or 2 more generations. So let's just let this battle finish off here. We are being called into a liberty war by the Veronese. That's fine. We'll join in. Send our troops there when the time comes. Let's finish off this battle here against King Guilherme. And with the Castilians coming in, oh, just at the right time after we already did the heavy lifting. Well, that is just great. Thanks, Castile. Alright, so we're just going to attach to the Castilian army. We're going to let that run. And this war should be over pretty soon. Now, I think that this will be where we leave off the episode. Nice little way to kind of solidify ourselves in the events of King Tancred's early reign here. See where we stand, and before we get too deep into it, we can see what the good counselors of the realm, aka you folks in chat, think that should be going on in the future of King Tancred's reign. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, which I hope you did, be sure to leave a like. You can subscribe to the channel if you so choose. And I would definitely like to thank all the folks on Patreon for supporting the channel. If you do wish to support the channel, you can find a link to the Patreon down below in the description. It does have some pretty good perks, I must say. You can have characters inserted into the game. You can potentially get your own coat of arms, and you can get yourself in the credits as well. So something to keep in mind if you are interested in doing that. I also have links to the Discord. But that shall be today's episode. Until the next time, I have been Stray. You all have been absolutely wonderful. And I will see you in the next episode.